Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, world builders and news junkies alike. Welcome to What's New with ME. I'm Ali Mehdaoui, and yes, it's really me. Tonight, we've got 5 stories that blend politics, pageant power, and plain old questions of integrity. We'll laugh a little, we'll sigh a little, and we'll ask, why is this happening, and what does it actually mean? So buckle up, and let's dive in. Stacey Plaskett and Jeffrey Epstein text messages during a congressional hearing. So newly released documents from the Epstein's estate shows that during the February 2019 hearing of Michael Cohen, former lawyer of Donald Trump, before the House Oversight Committee, Epstein and Plaskett exchanged texts in real time. One example, Epstein messaged, Cohen brought up Rona, keeper of the secrets. Plaskett replied, Rona? Quick, I'm up next. Is that an acronym? Epstein clarified, that's his assistant. The text suggested that Epstein was guiding or influencing the questions Plaskett would ask, i.e., hi, I see you on a live, ask this. The Washington Post matched video timing of the hearing to the timestamp of the text. Plaskett office responded by saying receiving text is not itself wrongdoing. She's defending her record on sexual abuse issues. Meanwhile, Epstein had vast political ties. The House attempted to censor Plaskett and remove her from key committee, but the motion failed 214 to 209 on November 18 of 2025. A suit by Epstein victims against Plaskett and others in the U.S. Virgin Islands was voluntarily dismissed with prejudice in August 2025. Why this matters? Well, it raises direct questions about access and influence. If a known sex trafficker can text influence a congresswoman during a key hearing, what does it say about oversight? It goes beyond campaign donations into real-time coordination. The optics are worse than a donation. There are whispers in the hearing room. Supporters of Plaskett say she was doing oversight. She asked tough questions of Cohen. Receiving messages does not equal collusion. Critics say this undermines the integrity of the congressional hearing. The bipartisan angle, the censor failed largely along party lines. Democrats rallying to block it, Republicans pushed it. Some Republicans crossed over. The reality is enforcement of ethical standards appear inconsistent. You can note the irony. A hearing meant to expose influence over government may itself have been influenced. Picture this, February 2019, high-stakes hearing. Michael Cohen testifies, the nation watches, and somewhere a text pings, Rona, I'm up next. The sender, Jeffrey Epstein. The recipient, Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett. Now look, texts happen, but when a convicted sex offender is feeding live hearing talking points to a delegate, we have to ask, is this oversight or inside watching over you? The House said, let's censor her. Then said, nah, status quo preserved. Meanwhile, the Epstein files keep leaking. Because in Washington, sometimes the most important messages are the ones you don't see. One question for you is, should a hearing be a public forum or a private text room? Keep that in mind. Segment 2. Miss Universe and the 2025 shenanigans. Miss Universe 2025 gets shaken with walkouts, falls, judges quitting, and rigging claims. During the pre-pageant event in Bangkok, pageant executive Nawat Itzaragrizil publicly berated Fatima Bush, Miss Mexico, for alleged refusal to participate in a promo photo shoot. Several other contestants walk out in solidarity. Days before the final, Judge Omar Harfouch resigned, claiming an impromptu jury outside official 8 judges. They pre-selected the top 30 finalists without transparency, and that some members had personal ties to the contestants. 2 more judges quit shortly thereafter. One alleged that a jury member was having an affair with a contestant. Despite the drama, Fatima Bosch was crowned Miss Universe 2025 on November 21st. However, controversies are continuing. The judge who quit is considering legal action for fraud, corruption, deception against Miss Universe organization, and the organization denies the claims about a secret jury and insists the official judging followed standard protocol. Why this matters? On the surface, this is a beauty pageant chaos, fun, noisy entertainment, but deeper, it touches on fairness, equity, global competition, and celebrity culture. In a clash with Mix Mexico, a young woman publicly challenged by pageant power. The contestants walked out. That signals deeper resentment of the power dynamic behind the crown. Judges quitting? Well, when insiders step off the stage saying this isn't legit, it chimes with broader culture mistrust of the institution. For pageant fans, you ask if the competition is messy behind the scenes. Does the crown still mean anything? And the broader viewers, what does winning look like when the process is questioned? Also, Fatima Bosch connections, where her father's pageant with the organization relationships are also being scrutinized. This is the kind of insider network dynamic that resonates with media consumers who increasingly doubt pure merit. You can lean into this by thinking the beauty pageant is now all about boardroom grease. But also, many contestants spend years training for the hope of a fair shot. Let's go from Capitol hearing to high heels. The Miss Universe pageant, glamour, crown, jet lag, and accusations of rigged finals. In Bangkok, Miss Mexico walkout is an exclusive public derangement of where the institution is heading. And the truth is, the secrecy doesn't make it any better. The organization says, nope, protocol was still followed. A crown is handed out anyways. So what are we watching? A global spectacle or behind the curtain reality show about who really calls the shots here? For the contestants, months, sometimes years of prep. For audiences, for 5 minutes on live TV. And the takeaway might be, trust the process, maybe not. While we admire the poise and the glitz, we might also ask the latter real question. Is someone actually deserving it or just VIP treatment? The real question is, will the judges actually judge or just give away with favor for favor? Quid pro quo. Miss Universe judge resigned ahead of the pageant, claiming that top 30 pre-selected the impromptu. I would assume there will be some investigations. And the fact that they resigned right before the final was not just a statement, but it was a warning shot.
In a world of digital noise, your brand deserves a command center. Welcome to Emmy Studios, where your vision doesn't just get captured, it gets amplified. This isn't just another production space. This is your complete media powerhouse. Our multi-unit facility in New Jersey is engineered for brands that refuse to be overlooked. We transform your voice into professional podcasts streaming on Spotify, Amazon Music, and beyond. Your stories become headlines across 300 plus media outlets, including Fox, ABC. Behind every viral moment is strategy. Our content creation and SEO campaigns don't just chase trends, they create them. From concept to distribution, we build the digital presence others envy. Your brand, your voice, your time to dominate. Visit the emmystudios.net and turn potential into impact.
Segment 3. Mamdani and Trump. Hey, Zohran Mamdani meets Donald Trump from verbal craziness to cordial handshake. See, Trump and Mamdani have publicly clashed for months. Trump called Mamdani a communist lunatic during the mayoral campaign and threatened to withhold billions in federal funding if Mamdani won. Mamdani, a Democratic socialist and newly elected mayor of New York City, will be sworn on January 1st, had criticized Trump's immigration and foreign policy stance on November 24th at the White House, at the Oval, and it was a surprise to all. They discussed public safety, affordability, and economic scrutiny. Videos show Trump praising Mamdani's intelligence and saying, I'm impressed. Mamdani emphasized cooperation. Why it matters? It's a classic political pivot. Two figures who just last year were public adversaries now meeting at the Oval Office with smiles. That alone says a lot about the powers at work. In New York City, the mayor-elect radical credentials led a meeting with Donald Trump before the assumption of office could signal federal and local office relationships and changes. For the nation, it raises questions about whether ideological divides are being bridged for governance or whether optics trump substance. Pun intended. It's both surprising and predictable. The surprise, well, they're sitting together. The predictability, once money and jurisdictions are involved, cooperation tends to win over rhetoric. It's a reminder that today's enemies can be tomorrow's kangaroo court partners. The question to ask is this actual collaboration or elite theater? Imagine this scene. One man called the other communist just months ago. The other says the first was an authoritarian wrecking ball. And now they're at the Oval Office sipping cordial-looking coffee and talking about housing and public safety. That's the meeting between Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani and President Donald Trump. And the headlines call it a detent. I call it Washington, the reunion tour. If you squint, you can almost see the billboard, enemies of yesterday, partners of convenience. But let's ask, who wins? The citizens of New York who hope for results, or the cameras that hope for optics? Because budgets still have to be balanced. Rent still goes up. Crime still gets talked about. And once the cameras leave, the real work begins or doesn't. My question for you is, when the handshakes are over, what has actually changed? Segment 4. MTG. Marjorie Taylor Greene says goodbye forever to Congress. On November 21st, Greene announced she will resign from the U.S. House of Representatives effective January 5th, 2026. Her statement cites deep dissatisfaction with both parties, diminished legislative power in Congress, threats against her, and falling out with Trump. Trump had withdrawn his endorsement of her in mid-November, publicly criticized her, and floated support for a challenger in her district. Greene framed her resignation as, "I don't want my district to fade because of a circus primary, and loyalty should go both ways." Why does this matter? Greene was known for the most polarizing members of Congress, known for combative rhetoric, conspiracies, and outright defiance. Her departure signals a shift in the music of America First populism. It also suggests fractures in the MAGA movement. A prominent insider turned restless, saying the system ignored common Americans. From a governance perspective, when high-visibility lawmakers exit abruptly, it often takes institutional memory, constituents' focus, and stability with them. You can play the arc from MAGA queen to system-tossed congresswoman and ask, was it a choice or a push? It's a cautionary tale about career public service, identity in politics, and when your own side turns on you. And now we can cut to Capitol Hill, where the firework-friendly rep Marjorie Taylor Greene announced she's packing her tote bag and heading out come January. Once the poster child of America First crowd, once Donald Trump's ally, now walking away while singing songs of betrayal, gridlock, and the people being ignored. She said Congress is sidelined, the system is broken, and that's enough for her to leave. So what changed? The message? The moment? The man who backed her? Either way, one of the loudest voices in the MAGA choir is stepping off the stage. If you're her constituents, help me out. What happens next? If you're a political watcher, what does this mean for the lane called populist insurgent? Final question for you. When the megaphone goes quiet, does the message vanish? Alleged sexual misconduct by an army doctor may involve hundreds of victims. The story centers on a gynecologist at Fort Cavazos, formerly Fort Hood, and other Army medical facilities who is accused of secretly videotaping and abusing patients during an OBGYN exam. The U.S. Army has notified more than 1,400 female patients who may have been treated by the doctor. Investigations include the Army Criminal Investigation Division. Plaintiffs allege misconduct such as unnecessary procedures, rude remarks, and hidden cameras. Put it more broadly, advocates say this is not just one bad apple, but a symptom of how military medical oversight and patient protection sometimes fail, especially in settings where rank and trust and privacy collide. Why it matters? This is serious. It touches on the most intimate part of healthcare, trust in your doctor, especially when you're vulnerable. The U.S. Army, many assume service members are protected. When the system appears compromised, the public legitimacy of that system takes damage. This is less satire and more gravity. Think of it as power plus vulnerability plus secrecy equals the ingredients for damage. It also raises accountability questions. In what frameworks do patients have resources, especially in military medicine? It's not glamorous, it's disquieting, and it belongs in what we should care about pile, even if it's off the cable news radar. Finally, tonight, we step away from crowds and red carpets and political sound bites and into something deeper. The medical guardrails we trust and when they fail. The U.S. Army Medical Facility and that gynecologists are not only accused of secretly recording and abusing, but to be questioned about what's really going on inside. More than 1,400 women are victims here. This is not a typical scandal. This is a breach of trust in an institution about as rugged as they come. When it's your body, your privacy, your service, and the person holding the oath fails you, we all lose. The Army says it's investigating. The victims are coming forward. The public, we're watching. So ask yourself, when the suit is camouflaged and the doctor carries a rank, who ensures you're safe? And when the system fails you, where do you turn? Because in times like this, justice isn't obvious. It's slow, it's fragile, and it's necessary. All right, folks, those were our 5 stories, from text threads that raise big questions to pageants that may not be what they seem to political alliances renewed, departures announced, and trust violated in the medical wing of the military. What's the thread? Institutions matter. Process matters. Transparency matters. Whether it's a congresswoman, a crown, a mayoral-elect, or a soon ex-representative, or a doctor in uniform, the questions remain: who watches the watchers? If anything tonight reminds us of that, hold on to it. Because when the curtain closes, it's the audience, you, who keep the lights on. I'm Ali. Thank you for being part of the conversation. What's new with ME? We'll be back soon. Stay curious, stay kind, and good night.
World of digital noise. Your brand deserves a command center. Welcome to ME Studios, where your vision doesn't just get captured, it gets amplified. This isn't just another production space. This is your complete media powerhouse. Our multi-unit facility in New Jersey is engineered for brands that refuse to be overlooked. We transform your voice into professional podcasts streaming on Spotify, Amazon Music, and beyond. Your stories become headlines across 300 plus media outlets, including Fox, ABC. Behind every viral moment is strategy. Our content creation and SEO campaigns don't just chase trends, they create them. From concept to distribution, we build the digital presence others envy. Your brand, your voice, your time to dominate. Visit the mestudios.net and turn potential into impact.